and gentlemen, it is time. Did you guys have a good Porcfest? Did you guys have a good Porcfest? Woo!
I'd rather say it because it's more hurtful.
All right, who here's new? Who's never done Soapbox Idol before? All right, that's a good sea of people. I see some pluses. I don't see that many kiddos, but there is a warning that this is not an adult-friendly show because
I brought my 4-year-old. He's here, and I'm his only parent.
It probably isn't an adult-friendly show either, but I did mean kid-friendly. So if you're easily offended, this is probably not the one for you. If you don't really give a shit, you're in the right place. So what we'll be doing tonight for Soapbox Idol, in a moment I will introduce our judges, but here's the rules in a quick rundown. We have contestants. No one knows how many contestants because I organized this. So we have between 12 and 20 contestants, depending on how our time goes. Each contestant will step up onto the soapbox where they have 3 minutes to give you their rant about whatever they're really passionate about.
Okay. The signage was...
The idea for this started because I love that we have all these great minds who come here and the big names and the philosophers and the Jeffrey Tuckers and the bow ties. But face it, we also all have something to say. And so I wanted to create an opportunity for just ordinary libertarians to be like, yo, this is what I care about. I want to tell you, I want to turn to also say what I think. Because I think as we build every single person in this room's confidence so that you feel like you can talk about these ideas in a good way that is persuasive and that helps us spread our message of liberty, that's what I want to do. And part of that is genuinely learning to be able to come up here and do it, right? And how do we become better at things? We practice. So that's the idea of this. I want everyone to know this will be filmed. So fair warning to the ranters as well. But I think that's pretty much it. So they will come up, they will do their rant. Our esteemed judges.
We have ranters who have wanted to have their video not released. We will honor that.
Yes.
We've done that in the past.
There
is a rant that is so good that they are worried about the government being able to see it later, you really want to deny yourself that? I don't think so.
You hear that? Go hard in the paint. No excuses.
Well, I see that the judges aren't even going to wait for me to introduce them. So I will quickly introduce, or they will introduce, maybe 2 words each, but we'll start with Aria. And Aria, this is your 3rd time judging?
Second?
I
think so.
I feel like, is it?
I don't keep track.
Were you here in 2020?
Yes.
I think you judged in 2022.
Okay. I was probably really drunk or really high.
I don't know, but you get the gist, because none of us can remember that we've done this, so. So welcome back. I'm really glad you are here. In the middle, we have the troublemaker we all know and love, Jeremy Kaufman. And please.
I'm not sure I've heard a conversation between 2 people with 0 voices before.
We're just going to be so sexy. All right, and on
my introduction is Carla's introduction was way too wholesome. I mean, we're about sharpening skills, but you're about to go through the crucible, I think, with some of the feedback that you're going to hear here. So you got to make sure you bring it. We will cheer you on when you do a great job, but if you're gonna bomb it, we're gonna let you know too. So that's the fun.
And on the far end, Mr. Clint Russell.
Yes.
Will let you know. So Clint, tell us a little bit about yourself and how your first Porcfest went.
It was incredible. Thank you guys so much for the warm embrace. Feels fucking amazing. I feel like I am in Mecca or Israel or something. It's awesome. And for the record, I will be pushing hard for self-harm if you don't go hard in the paint. I am a professional Liberty ranter. I expect incredibleness, perfection. All right.
Shit is on, guys. All right, since I don't know what I'm doing, let me get my list and my old lady glasses. No, sorry, my prime glasses. And our first contestant tonight will be Mr. Mitch Mitchell. Oh, did I explain anything about the actual point system? I didn't.
Wait, wow, this is libertarians. I was gonna ask who cares, but at least a third of you care, so, you know.
All right, so this is how it works. The gentleman gets 3 minutes. This cute gentleman in the front here with the little hat will be the timekeeper. He will let them know when there's 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 10 seconds. If they go over their time, each one of these esteemed judges will give them a point out of 10. If they're assholes, they add fractions. So now Jeremy does the math because I can't handle it. I don't want to do it. So if you go over your time, you lose 1 point automatically. So it is incredibly hard to win if you go over your time. And then someone was talking about just general penalizations. It sounds to me like these guys and gals are out for blood, so let's get the show on the road.
We kind of just make it up as we go. We kind of just make up how we're going to judge as we go, so.
I wish
All right,
you
we'll
would.
do that. All right, when you're ready, and look at him in the hat for his cue, and then. All right, you ready? Go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mitch Mitchell, and I'm going to say some shit that's going to really piss you off today. Deputy Carlos. So, hey. So if that person right there, that Dennis character, gives me a tattoo of a swastika with my consent, clearly I'm a racist. He's fine. If that fine Jewish boy there runs a McDonald's franchise and I eat his fine product until my heart explodes, he didn't kill me. I committed suicide. And if any of the fine doctors in this room, medicinal or otherwise, give me a big syringe and say, hey, this will cure your ball cancer, but your teeth are going to fall out, and they're being honest, and I consent to having that placed in my body, clearly they're not supposed to pay my dental bill because I consented to that. So, of course, naturally, if I put my dick in some chick and she gets pregnant, that's her problem. So, my point is, guys have zero rights, and no responsibility to any child that they, air quote, father, and women should have 100% of the right and 100% of the control of said child. And if you don't like that, then go and have a fucking contract like an adult. Lay it all out explicitly in writing, because fucking somebody is not an implicit contract, Mr. Ducamp. I will read your book later, don't worry. But seriously, just because you fuck somebody doesn't mean that you're responsible for their crotch spawn. I'm sorry. This is not Soviet Russia. You can't just do that shit. And while I'm up here, let's get rid of the fucking state-sponsored legal marriage. It's bullshit. Fuck child support, fuck alimony and maintenance. I don't care what you call it. It's all commie bullshit. All the family court shit, just go away. And DCYF, put them against the wall. I didn't say that out loud. I've been Mitch Mitchell. This has been Sexual Anarchism. And go fuck yourself. Rant over. I gotta stay.
Ooh, early contender here. All right, judges, what did we think?
Yeah, I liked it. You came out really strong, had a lot of high
My
energy.
dad also had a huge penis, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
You're-
the person being judged, no, just listen.
All right.
You were very passionate, and that was great. You had an excellent response from the crowd, and I really liked that. I really wish I could come up with, a joke to crack to follow that, but I just don't have one. Hopefully Jeremy can come up with one. I'm going to give you a 9.
Thank you.
No, I like getting up here and starting with abortion and violence against child protective services.
Fuck them. Sorry.
It's Porcfest. Do it. I do wonder if you're like preparing to run into the woods right after
I
this.
already
right?
packed my Jeep Wrangler. It's actually at the gate right now.
So you're very prepared for something, and there's a real. Sorry to be serious for a second, but there's a real point about this inconsistency between child support and abortion. There's not a consistent standard there. I don't think there is. It's always tough. It's always tough starting with the first rant. So how do you do it? But I'm giving you an 8. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man, Mitch, I think you're disadvantaged by going first because I can't give it 10, but I want to. As a fellow deadbeat dad, I think that your arguments were great. It made me feel better morally and principally. So
You're welcome.
I'm gonna give you a 9.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Mitch. Next up, we have Jefferson. Jefferson, do you want your mic in there or you want to hold it?
Jeremy supports.
I'm gonna have a lot to say about this one.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Are you timing for him? Okay.
My life got ruined because of a disease that I and everyone I know have a 99.999% chance of surviving. Government brainwashing institutes, aka public school, forced us kids, the people with the highest chance of surviving if we got COVID, to wear masks that don't even do anything in the first place. Suddenly, it was hard to talk, breathe, or hear someone speaking, not to mention the tremendous pain of having your ears tugged too far forward. The schools also made us believe we were having fun sitting on the floor eating lunch because we got to watch YouTube. The real reason they put screens in front of us was so we didn't share and express ideas. By the end of 6th grade, I was begging my mom to let me go back to homeschool. Sadly, all this brainwashing and propaganda worked against my friends. They believed school's main incentive was to teach us facts and knowledge, and one of them even kept wearing the suffocating N95 mask when they finally made masks optional. The government's, media's, and parents' overreaction to everything has brainwashed my best friends and made several aspects of my life miserable. When I was a third of the way through 7th grade, I couldn't stand all the nonsense anymore and finally went back to homeschool. Then my mom and I read 1984, and it was terrifyingly relatable how a lot of the... I'm not actually done yet. Hold on. And it was terrifyingly relatable how a lot of the evil torment strategies they use in the book are still used by schools today. The only difference being schools use them more subtly, so you don't think you're experiencing the same amount of suffering, when really, you are. Thank you.
That was great, man.
I just knew when he came in and I said, "What's your topic?" And he said, "COVID ruined my life."
Oh man. That one got to me a little bit.
I know, dude. I'm like, shit.
I had written down like harsher things because why not? But now I'm like sad. Yeah, I think I mean, obviously, who here doesn't agree with the subject material? But I've never really heard it that way in that first person kind of way. And yeah, that's so. I don't know. I'm not even gonna make my jokes. I'm just gonna give it a very high score. So we're gonna go with a 9. Yeah.
What was your name again, Thug Life?
I'm Jefferson.
Dude, I love you. I would give you 1,000 if I could, but I feel like you're going to take my job, so I may not do that. Incredible. The reason I started my show was to speak out for people like you that don't have a stupid podcast to talk, and very touching. Let's do it. Hey, as soon as you start one, let me know. I'll put you on. Man, it's tough to talk about. It's just beautiful. It was so eloquent for someone your age. God bless homeschool. It's obvious it's paying dividends. I'll get off the mic. I'm gonna give you a 10.
Thank you.
See, that's kind of fucked up, though, because now if I don't give a 10, I'm the asshole.
Well, Jeremy did a 9, so, you know.
There's space.
Okay,
There's
I thought-
space. Yeah,
okay.
there's space.
Well, Jefferson, that was awesome. It takes a lot of courage to stand up here and do this. I know a lot of adults who don't have the courage to stand up here and rant like that. So, first of all, congratulations. On the other hand, it did make me sad, and that kind of sucks. Because there are a lot of people like you whose lives just got completely fucked up by COVID-19 and, well, by government lockdowns, because COVID-19 didn't seem to do a lot of anything. So I'm going to go, I was going to give you an 8, but, I think I'm going to have to bump that up to a 9. Good job.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good job. Thank you, timekeeper.
I gotta say, at the start of this, Carlos, like, make sure, this event might not be for children. 2 minutes later.
The 11-year-old shuts it down.
I did realize the irony of that, but whatever, it's Porcfest. Next up, we have George, and after that, we're going to have Keith Bissett.
Can someone suck, please? I want to make fun of someone.
There's
He's like,
plenty
"I
of
got
time
you."
left, Jeremy. Awesome. Good choice.
When do I start?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Jorge. I was born in Cuba, where a significant number of slightly smarter apes still believe that a coercive, competition-immune monopoly of experts can better manage the social order. Sadly, here in the USSA, we obviously have an increasing number of people who believe central economic planning is desirable. So I want to use a Cuban restaurant I like in Miami, Cuba 2.0, to help summarize Ludwig von Mises' Austrian theory of the business cycle that explains why the economy goes from booms to busts, and the Mises Hayek explanation of why socialism, regardless of the good intentions or intelligence of the central planners, must always lead to chaos. The restaurant I like sells a popular picadillo dish made of rice, plantains, and ground beef for $8. The $8 price that the business owner sets provides vital information. Perhaps $1 might be profit, and $7 will be spent in cost. In other words, in the necessary consumption or use or reordering of existing wealth needed to produce the meal. Things like equipment, supplies, labor, and everything employees will consume at home, like food and energy, thanks to their paychecks that came from the $7 per meal. Keep in mind that this wealth must already exist, and clueless central bankers simply creating money to lend to businessmen to stimulate production does not create such wealth. It just means that there is now more money per existing unit of wealth and thus higher prices, which eventually wreaks havoc in the profit-loss calculations of businessmen, leading to bankruptcies, unfinished projects that wasted wealth, the economic
Self. This is it, my friends. We're born for this moment. It can go this way, it can go that way. We got to make sure it goes the right way. All right, thank you so much. They're giving me the hook.
Give it up for Jeffrey Tucker.
expansion created the illusion of such an increase. Sooner or later, it must become apparent that this economic situation is built on sand. End quote. Again, the production of wealth requires the consumption of wealth, which can't be increased by just creating money. So back to the restaurant. The businessman discovered vital information. One, that there are enough customers nearby willing to patronize the restaurant at the $8 per meal price. And two, how to reorder $7 worth of stuff, labor, supplies, to produce the meals. If he sets prices too high, customers will choose other superior competing options. If too low, they might not cover cost and cause the business to consume more than it produces, leading to an overall shrinking of the economic pie. Central economic planning can't possibly work because only free businessmen dispersed throughout society, not government experts, are at the right time and place needed to discover people's desires, the information needed to order the business while setting prices that create a profitable order, one that produces more than it consumes. And that's it. Okay, kind of boring.
As much as I enjoy hearing Mises recited in a Cuban accent, I need more fire, brother. I need more unscripted action. I'm sorry, Jefferson brought the house down. You had a tough act to follow. I'm gonna give you a 7.
Yeah, but it was very low energy. It was more like a lecture.
I wrote that down.
Sorry?
I wrote that down. I wrote down
sorry.
low energy.
It was more like a lecture that I would expect from like a really old, decrepit college professor than like a rant. And I wasn't sure at times if I was hearing like a rant from you or a rant from Mises. So you just sort of seem to read quotes from your phone. I got to go with a 5. Sorry.
So I thought, you know, my heartstrings started getting plucked. First we got, you know, a kid ranting about COVID. Then we got Cuban reading Mises talking about. But I agree. As I said, I wrote down low energy, and I want to rant, not a lecture. And I feel like I got a lecture. I think it takes a lot of guts to get up here. I can tell you care about the topic, and that's fucking awesome. Okay, I can tell you care. But as a rant, I'm giving this also a 5.
Oh, he doesn't get a boo. Okay.
Thanks, George. All right, next up, we have Mr. Keith Bissett. Oh, look at that. Sorry, okay, I will lose my voice by the end of this. After Keith, it will be Masha, and after Masha, it's Reed. All right, whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay, first I just want to talk about the 2 SCOTUS opinions recently. The New York concealed carry case that Clarence Thomas wrote the majority opinion on. I just want to say black judges matter. The second one, Roe v. Wade. They overturned Roe v. Wade. I checked it out this morning. The organizers say unvaccinated people are not allowed to go to the My Body, My Choice demonstration.
Whoa!
All right, but what I actually want to talk about is the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't say it, and I don't want to explain why. The reason I don't say it is the whole frickin' thing is bullshit. I'd be lying if I said any of it. It's all wrong. It started in 1892. This guy, Francis Bellamy, he was a socialist. Like, I'm not a socialist. I can't say that. He was trying to push kids into socialism. They used to salute like this. They did that for 50 years. You know what that looks like? 1942, they changed it. It didn't really look all that good in 1942 to make all the kids do that salute. Anyway, I'm going to go through it. Here's why I don't say it. I pledge allegiance to the flag. It's a piece of cloth. How can you pledge allegiance to a piece of cloth? Like, I ain't doing that. Of the United States of America. That phrase don't even matter. It's a cloth, so who cares what that part is? And to the republic for which it stands. Now, you could argue in 1776, the 13-star version was a republic. Sure. But the 50-star one, if you think that stands for republic, you ain't paying any attention to what's going on. One nation? We're not one nation. Do I look like I'm part of the Cherokee Nation? We're like hundreds of nations here. Under God? No, it doesn't go God, then the federal government, then the state government, then the people. It's the other way around. We tell God what to do. And plus, I'm an atheist, so I can't say that. Indivisible. If you saw my Liberty 101 talk on secession, you know what I think about indivisible. All empires eventually break up. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. This one's going to Ed. Liberty and justice for all. That's a great goal, but how do you pledge to that? Sure. So anyway, I don't say it, and I don't take my hat off when other people say it. Anybody that knows me, I don't take my hat off for very many reasons, and conservatives hate that.
I like the misdirect, Keith, there, where you had, a completely unrelated opening before you actually got into the topic. I like that. It was creative. It was a really good topic, and I love the idea of secession and New Hampshire exiting the United States. So you automatically gain points for that. So I'm going to go with a 7.
Man, this one, I was like all up and down on this one, honestly. This is first, you're like SCOTUS right out of your mouth. I'm like, this isn't going to be entertaining. And then you had some like the Black Judges Matter stuff, which I thought was an interesting point. And then it was like 90 seconds about the pledge, and I don't know, I kind of feel like I both heard that before and wasn't that fiery. And so it felt like both entertaining, but also a little bit unfocused, and it wasn't getting me all the way. I'm also giving it, actually, I'm giving it a 6. I'm bringing the scores down a little bit for my fellow judges, creating some scoring space, okay?
I'm apparently the easy judge up here. I really didn't think that was going to be the case. So you start off with like a couple bangers. I don't really like identity politics jokes, but you did a good one, so like credit for that. The middle section is where you fell off a little bit. It just got a little bit slow, a little bit too scripted. So like start good, end good, middle, a little bit of work, but overall very solid. 8 for you.
All right, thanks, Keith. And next up, we're going to have Masha, then Reed Cloverfield, and then Dennis Pratt. Masha!
Let's go, Rob Burdian.
Wait, in the mic.
Get close to the mic.
Get close to the mic, girl. You gotta
When are you moving to New Hampshire? You know how this goes. You meet a guy from Tinder, you have a few beers, you suck his dick, a few years pass, and then everybody you meet is asking you, when are you moving to New Hampshire? When are you moving to New Hampshire? We move when he says we move. Why can't you make it happen faster? Why can't you nag him? Why can't you speed it up? All this talk about like trad family values and men leading, and minutes within meeting me, you guys bring up topics of how I could push my partner to choose to move here sooner. We move when he says we move. I care more about following him than I do about getting here sooner. I am not a feminist. I do not lead. But more importantly, I would not want to be with a guy I could easily nag into moving. If I could easily nag him into moving, I would have already moved up here without him. I am too anxious to order my drink at the bar, so I ask him to order for me. I'm currently on a ban for baking pies because I've really been baking him too many pies. I am not a feminist. I am from Eastern Europe. And every weekend for the past 2 months, I have been up here in New Hampshire collecting signatures for Jeremy Kaufman. Because too many of you in New Hampshire are too busy to collect signatures for your own candidate in your own state. So for the past 2 months, I have been up here every weekend. And you know what the highlight of my weekend is? It's coming back to the hellscape of a blue city in a blue state because we get to sleep in the same bed. And as much as I love you guys, that matters more to me. And we move when he says we move.
So good.
I thought that was great. Could you repeat the part about me? That was really good. The other parts were probably better for other people, but I'm a self-interested judge. By the way, next person who brings me a beer, plus 1 point to your score. And
Same here.
that's a serious offer.
Bring 3.
And there's an argument that I should recuse myself since obviously you literally encourage people to campaign for me. But I'm not the kind of person who would do that. Since I'm self-interested, that would be a 10, but you don't live in New Hampshire. So it's an 8. That's right, I just did it to you on stage right here.
Huge credit for doing that with no notes. That was incredible. So succinct, clean, clear. I love the juxtaposition between I'm not a feminist and also I'm this badass campaign advocate for, it was awesome. It was awesome. And I also love women that know their place. So I'm gonna give you a 9.
So when are you moving to New Hampshire? Good point that it's just taken as a given that eventually everyone is going to move to New Hampshire, but that's because it's a really good fucking idea to move to New Hampshire. And if the government's responses to COVID-19 and all the lockdowns and shit didn't kick you in the ass, then you may never actually get here before things go to hell. So that's something to actually consider. I'm going with a 6.
I protest this
She's not
vote.
in New Hampshire.
I'm like the bad guy more than anyone else, so thank you. I love that. This guy sucks. You're not even from here. Be evil.
I love everybody. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Masha. So next up is Reed, but I want to say, Masha really does. She doesn't have a car, and she comes up from Massachusetts every weekend. She leaves her house at 6 in the morning to come do this, so yay.
But it would be easier to move here.
Can we nag your boyfriend?
My husband, Reed Coverdale of the Naturalist Capitalist. Come up here, buddy.
I actually prefer Reed Cloverfield at Porcfest. Good to go? All right, so if you become a libertarian, anarchist-leaning individual, you'll eventually realize that the progressive left accidentally arrives correctly at a couple conclusions. So for one, the Constitution is just a piece of paper. That's what they say, and then eventually you figure out, yeah, they're kind of right about that one. Or, we can't beat the federal government with an AR-15, and you're like, yeah, that's why we should have, harpoon missiles and rocket launchers and attack helicopters. So another issue that the progressive left is also accidentally correct about is that this country is being destroyed by conservative white men. But it's for the exact opposite reason. It's because they're not bigoted enough. There is nobody more tolerant than a conservative white man. Anyone who's worked on a roofing crew with a bunch of people of different races will know this. All the blacks are joking about the Mexicans, all the Mexicans are joking about the Asians, the white guys are walking around like, shit, I'm not gonna say anything. White conservatives are ruining this country because they don't give a fuck about anything. They'll bring their 3-year-old to watch the football game and watch Madonna half naked at the halftime show and say, well, at least Brady got another touchdown, and that's all they fucking care about. They also drop their expectations extremely low. They don't vet the fucking people they're voting for. And they'll look at the Republicans and be like, hey, these Democrats wanted a crazy $7 trillion bill. Let's go with the conservative option for $5.5 trillion, and that's good enough. So basically, conservative white men are destroying this country because their standards aren't high enough. And some of the lack of bigotry is good. Like, they don't give a fuck what nationality or ethnicity the guy painting their fence is. They're like, as long as he does a good job, whatever. That's good. But in a lot of areas, we need white men to become more bigoted than they ever have been before. That's my case.
With a minute to spare.
Am I up first? I just want to start by saying that was incredibly irrational and repugnant.
Thank you.
I'm super biased as I share a bed with this man. I love Reed, and he's an animal. He's a savage. He's probably as good a person as he is rational and repugnant. So it's tough for me. He says really inappropriate shit, but he doesn't mean it. Well, he kind of does, especially when he talks about Israel. Oh my God, I can't believe he didn't talk about Israel. Anyways, I'm gonna give you a 9, Reed, because I love you so much.
Gay. No, I mean, you guys are. Yeah.
So
Also
that was
because
awesome.
it was great.
Sorry. That was awesome. I liked how you didn't a lot of people when they start talking about bashing liberals, they just forget to bash conservatives as well, and it make them, ends up sounding like they're coming at it from a conservative perspective, and you didn't do that. That was awesome, and I enjoyed it. I'm giving you an 8. I wrote down 7, but I think an 8 is better.
She's a tough judge. That's a high score.
First, I just wanted you to know that, with some of the Supreme Court stuff coming out, Free Staters are going to be behind you guys staying together no matter what. We're going to fight for you. 100%. All right? You should have recused yourself, and you're not going to get any giving him a 9, dude. Give him a 10.
He was going to sleep with me anyways. That's true.
I definitely liked the attacking on both sides and agree with Arya. It's important, we are not conservatives. Porcfest is a good reminder of that. I was gonna give it a 7, and there's a New Hampshire bonus. It's like the opposite. Reed just moved here.
So he gets +1?
Yeah, we're giving him an 8.
Wow. Yeah. So I do hope everyone sees if you move, you can influence the judges. All right, next up, we're going to have the one, the only, and let's give him a super extra round of applause for the producer of Porcfest, Dennis Brett.
Come on. We're supposed to judge this guy? This is ridiculous. You guys are all biased. You have to no clapping. It's not fair. Everyone loves
Jeremy
him.
can't compartmentalize.
I'm joking, of course. I'm joking. All right, whatever.
All right, hold on, Dennis. Timekeeper, we're still keeping time, right? Okay, and then next after Dennis, we got AJ, Amy, Justin. All right, ready when you are.
Come and help us build our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me you're waiting to convince 80 million of the unconvincible when you haven't convinced your Thanksgiving dinner table. Come and help us build our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me that you're going to spread our winning strategy to the authoritarian 49. Dispersion is literally the opposite of our winning strategy. Come and help us build our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me that you've been successful in your authoritarian home. You'll be 10 times, 20 times more successful with a libertarian army by your side. Come and help us build our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me that a conservative authoritarian state protects you from the progressive authoritarian horde. They're still cannibals, and someday you and yours will be on the menu. Come and help us build our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me you won't move until a free state has more freedom in X area. This is a project that we build together. Our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me that you'd move only if you had a job you love. Build the business you love here in our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me you'd move, but you don't want to leave your friends and family if they support laws that would lead to your death for what you decide to do with your own body. They're not your fucking friends. Come and build our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me you move when housing is cheaper. There's nothing cheaper than a slave's hut. Come and build our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me you'd move except you don't like the cold. It's plenty warm in those ovens they're building for you. Come and build our libertarian homeland. Don't tell me you'll wait to build the second free state. We can't have a second libertarian homeland until we have a first, and we can't have a first until we have you. Come and build our libertarian homeland.
So that was awesome. But obviously, you have an unfair advantage. I mean, you put together the 2 most amazing Porcupine Freedom Festivals that we've had. So no points. 0 points.
0 points.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. You're encouraging people to move. I love it. I'm going with 8.
Wow.
That's better than 6.
She's a killer, guys. That's awesome. I would have loved that 0. That would have been dope.
I almost just kept it at that,
Just at like a meta level, the energy, the repetition, it's a great rant structure. You understand how to rant, right? It's not a matter of being correct, right? So there's some great rant structure there. Unfortunately, you're not 12 years old. So just if everyone else, I don't know, what? 13, he's 13, it's a reference to the earlier. Also because of, Porcfest bias, it's absolutely, there's no way, you can't win, sorry, not allowed. So I'm also, sorry. No, I can't trust your claps. All right, you don't understand. To filter, you guys aren't trustworthy clappers. When Dennis is on stage.
Was that an 8, Jeremy?
It's an 8.
All right. What we got at the end there?
All right, I got you. So, structure of the speech, flawless. I love the repetition. I'm disappointed in the audience because I thought they were going to start chanting it along with you. That would have been fucking fire. I am also biased because you booked me for this event, and I feel like I would be stabbing in the back if I weren't to give you a high score. But I want to knock you down a point for the incredible David Koresh energy, but David Koresh is hot as fuck, so that was awesome. I'm also from Florida, and I want the New Hampshireites to respect and appreciate me. So it's a 10. Let's go.
Okay, all right.
What was that?
10.
I would like to take this opportunity to, thank Dennis, of course, but also to remind all of you, you can buy your Porcfest tickets for Porcfest XX, the 20th anniversary, by using the now nearly programmed term, libertarian homeland.
Come and help us build our libertarian homeland.
And that's capital L, capital M, home, H. Whatever. Next up, we have AJ. After AJ, we will have Amy. After Amy, we will have Justin. After Justin, we will have Alu.
Hey. All right, so show of hands. How many of y'all in this room have been to a city council meeting, town hall meeting, alderman's meeting, whatever the edition is, in the last month? In the last 3 months? Last 6 months. Genuinely, that's significantly higher than I expected it to be. But to the rest of the 60% of you, what the fuck are you doing? Those meetings are where y'all need to be. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of times in this state, y'all are winning at the state level. Y'all are just passed, there's no more gun laws in the state. I don't know if y'all saw that one. Sununu just signed it. But at the city levels, it's Manchester just added a new zoning code now where there's got to be 2 parking spots for every, for when they build an apartment building, there's got to be 2 parking spots now off street for when there's, for each room. And it's wild. Y'all just missed that. And I don't know if there were people there to protest against that or who were speaking against that, but clearly you're either not winning the elections there or you're not speaking loudly enough at these meetings. Now, and I know that the meetings in New Hampshire, and I've looked this up, every single one of them is after 5:30 on a weekday. All y'all that work 9 to 5 can go. Justin O'Donnell over here, I don't know if the Creams are here, but so I used to love going to city council meetings in Nashua, and one day I just heard them say, hey, we want to raise the tobacco age to 21. And I was like, hey, let's go get everyone in town to go speak against this. And I know that we turned 2 votes in that room and killed it by 1 vote. So I know for a fact that if y'all do this, You can win things. This is literally the easiest form of activism. It is literally the easiest way to find out what is going on in your city. And it's literally the easiest way to get name recognition, because most of these things are filmed online for y'all. This is the best form of activism that y'all can engage in, and you don't even have to do it with a group. You don't have to find the LP or the Liberty Republicans. You can just fucking go. Fucking do it.
Porcfest, where city council meetings get sexy.
When someone talks about parking regulation, it gets me almost as emotional as a child talking about COVID. It's a big issue. It's a big issue. It's a big issue in New Hampshire. So you were right a lot. You were right a lot. It's very practical topic, and it has benefits from both. Like that you go and you get this recognition, turning this into a ranty thing. I think there's a real point here that's correct. But the scoring isn't just about being correct. So on the whole, I'm giving this a 7. That's how I felt about it overall. But it's very good. It's a great point. It's a great point. You should listen to him. In terms of listening to him, it's a 10. So please listen to him.
I felt like, as someone who usually gears my way up into a good rant, I sympathize with your position, because like the first minute you're building, and then you really hit it. Like the last minute was very solid.
Literally.
Yeah, the literally repetition was like, all right, you got me, dude. I'm like, I'm with you. The first minute though, little disjointed, little slow build up. One well-timed racial slur, you would have had me, but I'm gonna go with a 7 too.
That was great. I felt like you lost the rant a bit trying to remember some vague parking details that I honestly did not give a shit about. And I was really hoping that you were going to like chastise the crowd a bit more so they boost someone besides me for a minute, and you didn't do that. But I did like it, and you're absolutely correct, so I'm going with the 7.
All right, thank you, AJ. Next up, we have Miss Amy. After Amy, Justin, Alu, and then Richard.
What would school look like in Galt's Gulch? I began homeschooling my oldest son 15 years ago, and my husband asked me that question, and it has nagged me ever since. I ask myself, what would Galt do when I find myself creating a government school type schedule, standard school subjects, and I need a reminder that homeschool is not government school at home. We moved to New Hampshire about 20 years ago, and here we have the freedom to homeschool however we wish. Thank you. I don't have to tell the school district my curriculum, so I can create the education experience that best suits each of my children. Most days, our homeschool includes online classes, science YouTube videos, and every so often the old-fashioned physical books. But does this resemble what education would look like in Galt's Gulch? No. So let's forget everything we know about government schools, the subjects, the hours, the building, and reimagine learning in a hidden mountain enclave. What would that look like? The first step is deciding on what knowledge is essential. This will look different for every community. I'd like to share my favorite 5 subjects as a starting point. 1, farming and cooking. The most basic survival skill is knowing how to grow, butcher, and cook food. 2, firearms, because even if you're living in paradise, the real world will find you eventually, and you'll have to protect yourself from jealous outsiders. 3, emergency medical training, because knowing what to do when an accident happens is a form of self-responsibility. 4, math, integrated with cooking, building, and of course, economics. 5, ethics, because no society can hope to remain moral without people understanding what is good and right. So, the The next consideration is how the subjects are taught. And this part is my favorite, because the people in Galt's Gulch were the experts in their fields. So naturally, they would be the teachers. And I cannot imagine these brilliant people sharing their knowledge by standing in front of quietly seated children and giving boring lectures followed by multiple choice tests. Instead, learning would be hands-on, because everyone learns best by doing. Now, I have to admit, homeschool for my 3 sons has not achieved that vision. There are many reasons. The main one is I don't know John Galt or Dagny Taggart. There are a limited number of experts in the North Country. I haven't met many, but the ones I have met have no interest in teaching children their craft. However, this is my first Porcfest, and this week, thank you, I got to watch my 13-year-old son have a front seat to Dennis Pratt debating ethics and economics with David Friedman. Woo! This, I believe, is the hidden jewel of a school that I have always dreamed of. Thank you.
She went over. Ah, good son to the end.
Heard enough good points from this kid already, quite frankly.
Well, I just want to start off by saying you're a hero for living out your principles, and you've created an incredible son. I am floored by people like you. So I'm very biased. Unfortunately, you went over time, so you get a 0. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that obviously the message is fire, and it's perfection. It's exactly what everybody needs to hear. I was going to give you a 9. Because you ran over on time, I'm going to drop it to an 8. I'm sorry.
So I really like when you said that homeschooling is not government schooling at home. I really wish more people understood that. It did feel more like a lecture than a rant in a few places, but everyone loves a list, right? And you had a list, so that was great. But you did go over time. I wanted to give you a 7, but if they take away a point, because they're the assholes, right? Not me. That would take you down to a 6, and I don't want that, so I'm going to give you an 8 and let that get taken down to a 7 instead.
No, this is broaching neutral. I reject this strongly. I don't know. Maybe I started this actually. No one watched the video. Well, okay. So there's some stuff I like the idealistic, aspirational frame, and of course the topic is great. I'm the opposite of Aria. You started saying, you're like, I'm making a list, and I'm like, oh man. So it did have some good lines, and I do agree with the subject matter, but like I just felt like my energy, I wasn't there all the way. So I'm giving this a 6.
Oh.
Good.
I guess
That's
the rumors are true.
Wait till you hear the next number. You're only encouraging me.
You're counting, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right, after Justin, we're going to have Alu, Richard, Carlin. I'm wondering, is anyone, okay, after Carlin. We lost a judge. Did he just get up and wander off?
He's going to the bathroom. Okay.
Oh, okay, let's not make a whole thing about it.
I like he's running in right now.
I like where we're going with this. I'm gonna deputize a judge. Toad,
wait, he's right there.
No, is he coming back? No. Toad, get up here. Run. Yeah, run. Get up here before he gets up here.
The race is on!
Did I get it in time?
All right, sorry. You had a chance. You could have been a judge.
Next time, brother. Next time.
Toad.
The wrestling is later.
That was so crazy.
All right, Justin, your timekeeper is at the front here when you're ready.
Has anybody in here ever heard a good law? I'm gonna read you one real quick, so fucking bear with me.
Government being instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the whole community and not for the private interest emolument of any one man, family, or class of men. Therefore, whenever the ends of government are perverted and public liberty manifestly endangered and all other means of redress are ineffectual, the people may and of right ought to reform the old or establish a new government. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd, slavish, and destructive to the good and happiness of mankind. That's Article 10 of your New Hampshire Constitution. Now the first half there, government being instituted for who gives a shit, it's a fucking waste of time anyways. But the second half and the sentiment is that when it no longer serves your ends as the people, fucking kill it. On January 6, 2020, for the first time in my life, I woke up to news that gave me hope for the future of this country. As elderly senile grandmothers and LARPers and men dressed in a buffalo costume took the halls of Congress hostage, not knowing what to do with their captured prize, members of Congress cowered, fled, and cried in fear of the people they governed. And for the first and only time in the 32 years I've been alive, the American people had a direct and immediate admission from those that rule them that they are afraid, that you have the power, that you can remove them at any time.
So can I tell a really quick little story about Article 10? So here in New Hampshire, we have Article 10 of the New Hampshire Constitution. There's an activist who actually just fought a case all the way to the New Hampshire Supreme Court. He represented himself and Daniel Richards. And the case hinged entirely on this question of redress of grievances. The state argued, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically their argument was, well, we give you the right to ask for a redress of grievance, but we don't have to listen to you. That was their literal argument. Dan reserved the last 2 minutes in oral arguments at the Supreme Court. And what he said to the 5 sitting justices, paraphrasing again, was, Your Honors, New Hampshire has the right of revolution enshrined in Article 10 of our Constitution. It says we are allowed to revolt because if you're not doing your job. There's one exception within Article 10, and that is that the government needs to redress our grievances. So, ... your move.
So at first you said you were going to read some government thing, and I was like, fuck, man, really? But it was the New Hampshire Constitution and the right to revolt. So, I mean, that's great. On the other hand, fuck the Constitution. Even the New Hampshire one, it created a government that, sucks. But I do like that particular, article, so I'm going with an 8.
I thought it was a strong start. I don't like people reading. Consider it a pet peeve, but man, you're reading. I'm like, I could do this. And you're doing it slower, and I have to listen. I don't know. But then you're also talking about insurrection. That's a pet topic. I mean, I'm not allowed to encourage it, legally speaking. And then also there's the fact that as a judge, I use my station to address personal grievances. Except unlike most judges, I'm explicit about it. Yeah, you were late to Porcfest. Sorry, dude. You just got here. I'm just coming lame, dude. Sorry. So I'm knocking you a point for that and bringing you down to a 6.
I got here last night, haven't slept, my legs covered in blood, and I'm still here.
Oh yeah, you're awesome. I'm just taking a point off of your score.
I agree with the critiques of having...
Drunk with power.
I agree with the critiques having started by reading. That's never a great start. However, as a huge fan of January 6th, and also a huge fan of revolution more broadly, and believing that we've had the right for about 110 years or so, certainly to revolt, if not sooner, I think that the last minute was just fucking awesome. Just fucking awesome. I love anybody that's gonna talk that shit. Definitely don't put this one online, because we will get a knock, but...
Dan, I'll publish it tonight if you give it to me.
This man's an animal. 9.
Wow. All right, thank you, Justin. Next up, we have Alu. I haven't seen him in a little while, so if we are waiting on him, oh, I'm sorry. He's making a stage right Eminem type entrance.
Timer's ready?
Yeah, his little guy down here. Little guy, I should learn his name.
Hi, I'm Alu. I'm a critical care and flight certified paramedic. I have 11 years of experience in emergency medicine, and I want to tell all of you insurrectionists why I love masks, and I have a few reasons. I'm going to give you the top reasons. Number one, all the studies have shown consistently that masks, even the surgical masks, the N95 masks, even those lingerie-style super thin masks, the comfortable silk, 100% effective in blocking every single virus and bacteria from entering or from exiting if you are a sick person with COVID. It's 100% effective. Look at all the studies. I'll show you afterwards. It's on babylonbee.com. You can find all of the studies. I guarantee it. Number two, it decreases your oxygen intake because there's some resistance. So because you have less oxygen, you're chronically hypoxic. And as the doctors over here know, when you're chronically hypoxic, low oxygen, your red blood cells increase. Erythropoietin from the kidneys tells your marrow to increase more red blood cells. This makes your blood thicker, which is a really good thing. So there's more red blood cells and less water, your blood's thicker. So you clot more easily. It's a really good thing. If you ever get cut, you clot really easily. You're like a super clotter. It's amazing. You get some strokes and heart attacks, but it's not as bad as COVID. So at least it's not COVID. It also increases CO2. You can't expel carbon dioxide. There's resistance. So you re-inhale it, and you become acidotic. That's carbonic acid, CO2. You become more acidotic, and that trains your body to live in a really, really acidotic, dangerous, unhealthy environment. It just makes you tougher. It's really, really good. Probably the biggest reason I love masks and I wear them, oh, I actually forgot this. I've had this for 6 months. It hasn't filled me yet. It's a little dirty, but we should wear this. So, thank you. So, I don't know if you can still hear me. It's muffled, but, so Fauci wears it like this, so it's okay. So, another reason is it's really good for immunity. You see how dirty this is? There's a lot of dirt on this. There's a lot of bacteria and viruses, and it's really good for you. You inhale them into your lungs, right to your alveoli. And you take a deep breath, because I'm out of breath. Deep into your alveoli, and you get sick, and you know, your immune system becomes strong. So this actually makes your immune system very, very strong. So that's why I haven't gotten sick in the last 2 years, actually. So again, you don't get COVID. So I recommend this. It gives you a super immune system. That's the biggest reason. Another big reason is I love that it is a virtue signal. So I have this beautiful, blue, amazing thing on. It's like magical. People know from 1,000 feet away that I am on the pro-science crowd, that I do worship Lord Fauci, that I've taken Lord Fauci into my heart as my savior. And that's what I want all of you to do today. This signals so easily like a yarmulke for Jews to the sky for Shemayim for Hashem. It's a signal that I am virtuous. So I kindly ask you all today, don't be an insurrectionist like the last one. Don't be anti-science bigot. Don't be like Dr. Rand Paul. Be like Lord Fauci. Please, I ask you, accept Lord Fauci into your heart as your savior. Please go buy a mask, wear one forever, because it gets dirty and that's a good thing. Wear it forever, be considerate of others, and please be safe. Thank you.
No, I went first on Justin. Yeah.
Oh, I'm up? All right. Holy shit, man. Is it Andy Kaufman that does that shit? Am I right? All right, yeah. Very Andy Kaufman-esque. As someone who spent the past 2+ years railing against the lockdowns, it was excruciating to hear you speak. Which I assume was the intent, so well done, I guess, but fuck, that hurt me. You did a really good job, but I hated it. So, like, I don't know how to feel about it.
So I think that means a 10.
Nope, it's not a 10. I'm sorry, brother. I know everyone wants a 10. I'm gonna go against the crowd. That shit pissed me off. I'm gonna give you a 6.
Oh!
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh no.
I know what it was.
So I thought that was a really good take. It was really creative, right? We don't get a lot of people up here who do anything creative like that. You took a sarcastic position through the entire thing. That was really awesome. You know, I know you, so I was kind of worried you were going to get up here and just talk fast as fuck and no one was going to understand what you said. But luckily, you put on a mask and then I could hear you clearly, right? So I kind of want to give you like 14 points just to cancel him out.
Go ahead.
But I don't know if they'll let me do that. So between 10 and 14, whatever they'll let me do.
Oh. Oh no, I learned the hard way. If you appeal to authority, you will get nowhere with me.
Well, I liked it.
14.
I liked
That was
it from
a
the
judge's goal.
beginning. The stage right entrance was the most anarchist entrance we see. And I was even thinking about, like, literally, I was thinking in my head, I was like, why, if this guy loves masks so much, why isn't he wearing one while he's going? And you, like, pulled it out while I was thinking that. This was pretty neat. I think if you're a fan of insurrection, that's another great reason to wear a mask, given the way some of those things have played out. So I liked it. I don't know, maybe I feel like I heard this rant like literally at Porcfest last year. Sorry. I mean, I agree with all of it. It's very good. But I'm giving it an 8 overall.
All right. Thank you. Exiting stage right, Alu. All right, next up, we have Richard, Carlin, Elijah, Bill, Frank, Mo is who I currently have, and then we're done. Is there anyone I'm missing? Is someone back there butthurt because I can't plan right? Gentleman in the black shirt, I'm putting you in between Bill and Frank, okay? I should know your name.
We have any fans here of blockchain, maybe? Yep. Seasteading? Homesteading?
Yeah.
Jury nullification?
Yeah.
What a surprise that these fringe positions are so popular here. You can't persuade normal people because you don't even speak the same language as them. Earlier this week, I was having a conversation with someone, on our side, of course. I said, I'm not autistic, but sometimes I wonder where I might fall. Maybe I'm on that spectrum. He says to me, well, it's a spectrum, so everyone falls somewhere on that spectrum. He out-Aspied me in a conversation about neurodivergence. I've also learned here, said dead serious, that Sasquatch have secret dance parties, that sunglasses are dangerous for you. They actually increase your risk of sunburn, and that this very event is one of the premier collections of flat earthers anywhere on the globe.
On the globe.
So, and it doesn't help our case that every single one of us is an expert in petrology and foreign policy and agriculture and military strategy and crystal healing and Reiki. There's nowhere else I can think of where I can go and have a realtor align my chakras and then pitch their podcast about optimizing 3D printed gun models. We scare the shit out of people. I've seen monogamous couples decide to go poly, I guess because they thought that it was just too relatable otherwise. My turn-ons are, my love language. Ayn Rand with a strap-on. So, but there is a solution. There's another organization that has navigated these waters before, managed to balance the mix of batshit crazy and more palatable, like mouse shit crazy, I guess. And it was pointed out to me in a conversation with Carla, actually. Scientologists. They figured it out. They've got their crazy in the back, and they've got their more palatable stuff up front. So we've got a few churches, but we need to go bigger. You know, foam swords and pastry is fine, but we need Jeffrey Tucker jumping up and down on a couch. We need Elon Musk dropping into that field.
Yes!
This is holy ground. You know, I want to see billionaires with jetpacks. It's a religious sacrament. So we can do this. We just need to dream bigger.
Yep.
Let's get him on. Like,
I'm very committed. Woo! I did see, unfortunately, you went over your time, but...
So you made a lot of jokes, and I really like that. And you make a really good point that libertarians, especially here in New Hampshire, we're so used to our batshit crazy ideas that we forget they scare the hell out of people. But, you know, as you talk about, you know, the realtor aligning your chakras, I'm just like, fuck yeah, these are my people, man. So I got to give you an 8.
you're not the front of the house.
I'm sorry?
You're not the front of the house. We need like tax attorneys up there. You can stay here with us.
Yeah, I'm also sort of broadly, let's call it the Libertarian Woo Alliance, you know. It's kind of how, you know, when you've got people who are interested in alternative ideas, you get people who are interested in all kinds of alternative ideas. And like, I just think you're not appreciating the degree to which every 3D gun printer is actually powered by tiny gremlins. I have a pamphlet. It's available for 25 cents on my site, and you can learn all about it. There's also a documentary I made that just involves me, and it's 2 hours on YouTube. But I do like the thinking bigger type stuff. You know, there's a lot of people here that are very like, you know, they want to be safe for the downturn. I'm very appreciative of them. It's a great place to be here. But also like, what can we build? What can we do? That's a great attitude. I love that. And the Free State mullet strategy, you know, conservative in the front, party in the back. That's a great idea. So I'm giving this an 8. Oh, I got a time ding. Sorry, 7. I'm very principled about my time dings. Sorry, 7.
Have you done stand-up? I had a feeling you've gotten up once or twice. Well, you know, as someone who's, you know, every girlfriend I've ever tricked into dating me was predicated on me lying about my zodiac sign. I appreciate the whole humor level. It wasn't very ranty, though, you know, and this is supposed to be a rant competition, is it not? So I was going to give you an 8, overtime 7, but good stuff.
Go, Richard!
I'd also like to just say that this crowd is a great example of why democracy is flawed. They are so pathetic, the way that they have such sympathy for these people when they are breaking the rules and degrading the system for all of us. It's disgusting. This is why you need elites up here enforcing the rules.
All right, next up we have Carla and Elijah, Bill, Andrew. Do I have the, no? Okay, black shirt guy. Sorry. Brad, are you Brad? Yes, okay. All right, Carlin.
All right, I think the stated position of every libertarian running for high office should be this and this only: make Republicans lose again. Now, here's the thing. Now, before everyone gets their panties in a twist, I'm not talking about the good Republicans, the libertarians that basically signed up Republicans to be as spies, like Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, Carla when she decides she wants to pretend to be a Republican in order to get elected. I'm not talking about those people. I am talking about the establishment conservative shills who lie to your face and then throw you under the bus by voting for red flag laws, spending $40 billion to Ukraine every single chance they get. They do not deserve your votes. Let them lose. There's a guy named Shane Hazel in Georgia who got more votes for Senate than Joe Jorgensen did for president in the 2020 election. He is the reason that the Democrats control the United States Senate right now, and he wears that like a badge. He's going to do the same thing to Brian Kemp in the governor's election, and I think it's great. That is what we should be touting. We can make Republicans lose. Now, here's the thing. Some people might say, well, that might lead to more Democrats being elected, and Democrats are crazy, right? Yeah, I think Democrats are crazy too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a leftist or anything. But here's the thing. Every time Democrats implement their crazy leftist policies, they turn more of their voters off, and those voters come to us. I say we welcome them into the open arms of the Libertarian Party. Give them enough rope to hang themselves. Now, the other thing, does anyone else hate this? There is nothing I hate more than when Republican shills say to us, when you vote for libertarians, you're throwing your vote away. You're stealing our votes. F that. Every time a libertarian votes for Republicans because they think it's the lesser of two evils, they are stealing votes from us. Now, I think it's a tremendous value add to not only make Republicans lose, but here's the thing. Like when people are saying, oh man, Republicans are the lesser of two evils, I might have to throw my vote in their direction. We have to be honest, guys. We're not going to win anything. We're not anytime soon. But we can say to them, you know what? You don't like the Republicans anyway. You know they're lying to you. You know they're basically Democrats in disguise. Every time you vote for us, not only do you get to make them lose, but you get to give them a giant middle finger on the way out the door for everything they've done. This is the only solution that makes sense, and ultimately, this is what's going to drive more voters to the Libertarian Party when they see we have actual political power. You're not a real libertarian unless you want Republicans to lose.
As someone who definitely doesn't know who you are and definitely doesn't know that you're married to a man, I think it's so brave for a lesbian woman to get up on stage and not leverage the identity politics stuff. So that's awesome. And I think there's a flaw in what you're saying, because you said the Republicans are good here, but that means you're talking to people outside New Hampshire, and it's like, well, why would you be voting? Why are you voting if you don't live in New Hampshire? There's not, so look, I agree with the premise. It's dumb. Libertarians are not Republicans. The goal is not to, just let crappy Republicans get elected. The premise is right. But, yeah, I don't know. Where am I at? I got to give a number. Oh, seven.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's fine. I like
Jeremy's
it.
like a strict dad, right? He's kind of like a strict dad.
Jeremy's a hard ass. I think that the only thing I disagree with you on is that you ended with the goal should be to make Republicans lose. The goal should be for us to win. But I loved no notes, pure fire. That was an actual rant. Very few people have got up there and done a fucking real rant, and that was a real rant. So,
girl.
Kudos for that. I'm also incredibly infuriated with Republicans, so you timed this well. John Cornyn, the gun control bill that they just passed last night, the fact that Trump is, oversaw $7 trillion in spending, bailouts, everything else, they're a disaster. So I want to punish them, and it'll benefit you because I feel that way. I'm gonna give you a 9.
So as he said, you had an actual fucking rant, and I love that. So kudos on that. And you're right, fuck Republicans. But then I'm like, I'm currently running as a Republican, right? But that's New Hampshire and it's different. I'm just lazy. I could have ran as a libertarian, but that would have required getting signatures and shit, and I didn't want to do it. But you had really good energy. I liked it. Fuck Republicans and fuck Democrats, and fuck the National Libertarian Party's attempt to, bring in conservatives like Bob Barr and Bill Weld and these other assholes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 7.
All right, thanks, Carlin. So just to situate everyone, because I do hear a little murmuring and rumbling back there, let's give our full attention to the last 5 people. We're towards the end. So now up, Elijah.
All right, so I invented a word. It's hecklertarian, right? It's the word heckler and libertarian merged. I'll define it for you later. First, a little perspective, all right? This crowd is literally the greatest people on earth. Like, there might be some others, but this is basically it, right? And so I want you to think about that for a second, but first, let's think about how evil the state is, right? I want you to think about the evil of the state as an ocean, all right? This really big, dark, murky ocean, a big, scary ocean. All the violence, all the people that get raped in prison for having marijuana in their pocket, all the bullshit taxes that they steal from you and then commit genocides in Yemen. Think about how horrible that is. Now I want you to think about the person you dislike the most in this room. I don't care if they called you a ball cock because you think the earth is round. I don't care if they called you a Nazi because you say stupid shit on the internet, right? Like, I don't care. Think about the worst fucking person in this room, and then they're a drop in the bucket compared to that ocean, right? Now let's talk about Surf Ninjas. So Surf Ninjas was a movie in the 90s, right? So it was about ninjas that surfed. Anyway, Rob Schneider's in the movie. At the beginning of the movie, they're running out to surf. Rob Schneider stops and he starts waxing his board. Then there's a montage of people surfing. They're coming off. Rob Schneider's still waxing his board. He gets up and pretends like he's going to run out into the ocean, but then he stops and he goes, oh, I guess we're leaving, right? And then you find out he can't surf at all, right? He was just avoiding the big, scary ocean, right? And that's exactly what we're doing when we're infighting. That's exactly what we're doing when we spend all of our time on Twitter, fighting with each other, having purity tests. We're waxing our fucking surfboards instead of surfing in the ocean that we are supposed to be fighting, right? So let me define for you the word hecklitarian. The word hecklitarian's official definition is any self-identifying libertarian that spends more time criticizing the activism of other self-identifying libertarians than they spend on their own activism. See also cunt. Don't be a hecklitarian. End rant.
So knowing our community, I'm pretty sure there are at least 19 people who would like to debate you on the definition of hecklitarian.
I think I am. Well, first off, anybody that gets up on the soapbox without shoes, instant respect. Anybody that doesn't even fucking respect the order, just hops off the stage and sits down, walks around like he owns the joint. Respect, respect, respect. But he's wearing an Adam Kokesh shirt, and I had a run-in with Adam Kokesh, so I don't know. I'm totally kidding. I love Adam. He's a madman. But
he just needs to eat some bacon.
Honestly, I thought the rant was very solid. It was a slow build. I don't like the hecklitarian term. There's too many syllables. It's like, I don't think it's going to catch traction, so I'm going to knock you a point for that. I'm going to go 7, brother. I'm sorry.
So I really like the ocean metaphor, the way that you carried it all the way through the entire rant. On the other hand, you bribed Jeremy with a beer earlier. Well, that was you? Yeah, you didn't bring any of the others a beer. So you're losing points for that. But it was really good. When you sat down, I was a little worried because I'm like, oh, this is not the high energy sort of thing I'm looking for. But you recovered from that. You started walking around. It was really good. I'm also going to go with the 7.
Also, I gave you a 7 because you made me feel like Jeremy Kaufman was Nazi, and I like him a lot, so. And that hurt my feelings.
Wait till you hear my score. So I was seeing the back of you, because that's what I get to look at. I look at all of your butts. And in this case, I noticed also the Kokesh shirt, and I was like, well, what are we going to get? What are we getting here? What's about to happen? And we went on a journey. We went on a little journey. It's a journey we went on together. He sat down on the thing. We went places. I liked it. I like the message. I agree. I like very strongly resonate with this message that like you cannot spend more time. Like you need it's okay to criticize your own team, but that better be like 5 or 10% of the time you're spending, or you're not doing real shit. You know. So that's very good. The term is bad. We got to work on that. I had you at an 8, but you did actually bring me the beer, so you're getting a 9.
All right, awesome. Next up, we have the extremist Facebook warned you about, the tallest free stater in New Hampshire, the man with more abortion jokes than anyone should ever have, the one, the only, Bill Barger.
People who sign up to lay their lives down to protect the innocent members of their communities should probably be willing to do that if, in a moment of fear, they decide to take the lives of one of the innocent members of their community. How would you guys feel if one of the pork rangers over here feared for his life for a moment and so he shot somebody at Porcfest? That's what the fucking cops do. You guys familiar with the Uvalde Police Department? Yeah. Imagine being a full-grown man, armed to the teeth, body armor, strapped. You got backup, maybe multiple police squads backup, and there's women and children being slaughtered in that building over there, and you don't go in because somebody told you not to. I don't know if you're familiar with the frickin' Nuremberg Code, but just following orders is no good excuse for letting people fucking die or killing them.
Woo!
I think that if you're on this law and order bandwagon, where you're like, well, if we don't have the police, we'll never have law and order. What if the law says you can't defend yourself when somebody breaks into your house or comes into your school, and the police are under orders not to fucking help you? How's that for law and order? Fuck law and order. All we've got is individual responsibility. Now imagine you guys, one of the pork rangers, there's a mass shooting out there, one of the pork rangers starts arresting people, armed to the teeth, arresting mothers with no body armor, no weapon, going into a building to save their frickin' children from being shot. Arresting them. What would we do with somebody like that? All I'm saying is if you are willing to take the life of one of the innocent members of your community when you're there to protect them, maybe your community should still be willing to ask you if you're willing to lay your life down after that. That is a mistake. You don't get paid vacation. You get a fucking prison sentence. Fuck the police. Move to New Hampshire. Live free or die.
Woo!
Thank you for coming to the annual pig roast.
So, quick question. How the fuck tall are you? I mean, you're standing on that, so that doesn't help. But, like, genuinely curious, how tall are you? Jesus Christ. Okay.
All right, you're putting up the banner
Do I need to horny
next
bop
year.
you, Aria? Do you need a no?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, you said fuck the police, right? And I love that. So I'm going to go with the 9. You're absolutely right. Police have no obligation to protect, and I think more people need to be aware of that. I mean, the Supreme Court has upheld that. People say, why didn't the cops do anything? Well, they don't fucking have to. So, awesome rant. Give you a 9.
I oddly took like no notes for that, and I take notes.
I wrote down fuck the police, and that was pretty much it.
The only thing I wrote down actually is Bill can't win again. That's literally the only thing. I'm just being honest. I don't know. I wasn't like it's good. We agree with the points. I don't know. I'm just giving a number. I'm giving an 8. 8.
As someone who's spent the past, month, whatever it's been since Uvalde, really focused on it, I really appreciate. I think your approach is like the most important subject matter because it was so egregious what they did. For those that don't know, there was like a dozen cops there within minutes. Many of them were within the hallway and they didn't go in. They also had body armor, AR-15s, and a dude with a ballistic shield in front of them. They still didn't go in for over an hour. It's fucking insane. So I really appreciate the topic matter. So thank you for that. Little rocky with the delivery, but I love the fact that I could see that you felt it. It was real. I'm gonna go 9.
All right. I think we got in the final stretches here. Next up, we have Brad, and then Frank, and then Mo. Am I missing anyone who really still wants to go? Andrew. Okay, I had you earlier. I thought I missed you. Sorry. All right, so Brad, Andrew, Frank, Mo. Done.
Ready?
In the mic.
Look at y'all, bunch of fucking outlaws. Now, I mean that as a compliment, actually. By being here, I know you're already an awesome, freedom-loving person. But just being here does make you an outlaw. Don't believe me? Let's think about it. In the past couple of years, freedom of movement and association have been restricted based on occupation, health status, and ultimately whether you consumed a particular product. If you don't quite remember what I'm talking about orders to stay home unless you're an essential worker. I'm talking about travel restrictions unless you show proof that you tested negative for one particular virus. I'm talking about being banned from restaurants if you haven't taken an experimental vaccine. Also, freedom of speech has been curtailed based on questioning the actively evolving science or contributions to a peaceful protest. Again, if you don't remember what I'm talking about social media bans for questioning the science. You know, settled things like COVID-19 definitely didn't come from a lab, and lockdowns will totally eliminate all transmission with 0 negative side effects. I'm talking about the seizing of donations to the Freedom Convoy, and then the seizing of bank accounts for any Canadians who dared to make those contributions. So, make no mistake, your mere presence here makes you an outlaw, at least in the eyes of our government. So what? Nobody's coming to arrest me. I'm not going to get fined. Really? How sure are you? How many of the things I just talked about did you think weren't even remotely possible in this country 2.5 years ago? How many felonies do you think you committed today? Because I know a book that says even normal people get an average about 3 a day. So, given your status as outlaws, where will you turn for help when the law comes for you? How will you make money? Where will you buy your food? With whom will you invest for the future? Your normie friends and family, they've already written you off as a conspiracy theorist. The boss at your current job, he can't risk that kind of bad publicity. And the commercial banks will freeze your accounts without a second thought. Nope, these people around you, they're your last best hope. Make connections here now while you can. Support your local Free State farmers. Make friends with those crypto and precious metal nerds. Get yourself a side hustle. Whatever you do, don't rely on the government to get you through. And don't expect social norms to save you. That's all going to collapse. But hey, you're already outlaws. You got this.
Am I first? Okay. So I felt like this was mostly a kind of basic bitch COVID rant that I've heard. Sorry. And part of it, so some is good. I like connections, the empowerment stuff. That's good. I was vibing that. But some of this is also not realistic. I mean, there's probably around 10,000, maybe more Free Staters in New Hampshire because we can't even count them all. And, they're not getting arrested. They're not getting debanked. This is a real thing, obviously. The bad stuff happens. But this notion that, that's not my sense. So I also am not feeling that living here, that's, about to happen, that there's going to be some confrontation or shit like that. So I'm giving this a 5.
Next time, bring him a beer.
I didn't think it was that basic, to be honest. I thought it was a very concise recap of the last 2 years that we've experienced. It's been miserable for all of us. I've covered most of it on my show, so I appreciated that. I think that I probably would have given you, in fact, I know I would have given you an 8 if it weren't for the fact that it was all scripted. And that for me, takes some of the fire out of the energy, the spontaneity. But overall, solid delivery, very solid message, 7.
So it would have been pertinent like last year or the year before, but I'm sick to fucking death of COVID. And I'm sick of hearing the same. I mean, we've been saying this for 2 fucking years, and it didn't really change anything in the grand scheme of things. And we've been kicking the dead horses. You also missed an opportunity to explain why cryptocurrency is so important when you were talking about account seizures and stuff like that. But I mean, it took me 30 seconds to say that. But just the topic of COVID alone, I'm giving you a 3.
Best judge.
Wow, that was rough over there. All right, we got Andrew next. Give us a round of applause for Andrew.
What's up, everybody? I'm gonna maybe be a little bit more doom and precipice of the 4th Industrial Revolution. I'm sure most of this crowd is aware of that and has heard of the Great Reset. So what does that really mean? We will have a future, an economy based on the printing of body parts, the printing of organs, of nanotechs that will merge seamlessly into your body, and when the idea of privacy is no longer existent, when the idea of free will no longer exists, because everything will be trackable and traceable. This isn't a theory. This isn't something that a few people are just talking about. This is what the most powerful industrialists and special interests in the world in orchestration with big government is creating. This will be rolled out rapidly in the next 5 years. This talk that I'm giving right now is basically, it's called What is Liberty in the 4th Industrial Revolution. We have to wake up, and I'm gonna share a point that maybe will not be popular, especially with the judges. The state is the basis of freedom. If we do not use, great, please bring on the booze. But hear the argument nonetheless. If we don't use the state, through the ideas of having a free state, you can forget food sovereignty. You can forget having organic food. You will have pharmaceuticals in your food. You will have GMO seeds take over the crops, and there'll be very little to do. So in order for us to preserve freedom, we have a very limited number of options of what we need to do. And that is to move into a state like New Hampshire. It's to join movements like the Free State Project. And you have to get involved with the state and with the government, and you have to reclaim that state so that it works for the people, and it doesn't work on behalf of the special interests and private finance that control the government. It's popular to criticize government. Our government is tyrannical by nature. I know that. That's why I'm here. But in principle, if we do not have a state, we will not have rights. There are no rights without the state, without government to protect them. Bring on the booze. But what are you going to do? Without our Constitution, you would already have a chip in you. That you will face that tomorrow, and the problems that countries without a Constitution have. Canada, Australia. So we have to protect that, and we have to use government to our advantage. Last statement. Power is a dirty word for a lot of people. It's a dirty word for liberals. It's a dirty word for libertarians. But it's not the gun. It's how you use it. And it's time that we take control of our state back. We use that state to protect our interests and our rights. Thank you.
Man. What an unpopular position to take. I have to respect that. Someone had to. No, honestly. It's for debate's sake, you know? Honestly, I fucking respect it. I really do. Personally, I fall in the camp of believing that our rights are God-given. I'm not even religious, but it's just whatever that means to you. So I think ultimately our defense of our rights come from our own willingness to fight and die for them. So it is, but I wouldn't be chipped up tomorrow without a state because I'd fight and die before that happened. So I agree with your courage in the premise. I also love the fact that you go full fucking blown Alex Jones. That was savage. that we're all going to be chipped up and it's coming within 5 years. A little faster than I think, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm not.
It's 2030. Do you guys know nothing?
Yeah, that's 8 years, brother. Come on. Give me all the time I need. God damn it, this is a tough one because you took such an unpopular. I'm going to bump you up. I'm going to say 7. I'm sorry. It's not a pity. Trust me, it's going to be your high score.
Probably, yeah.
No, he's going to be right about that. I saw her number.
Yeah, so you started out by saying the state is the basis of freedom, and he's right. You know, it took courage to stand up here in a room full of fucking libertarians and anarchists and say something that stupid. So, props for that. But, I mean, it's a terrible basis. It's fundamentally untrue. You're getting a 2.
I told you were going to like my 7.
I'm just curious, how many dimensions does Earth have? Yeah, how many dimensions, yes. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, the answer is 3, which is also going to be your score. I like someone who gets on stage and wants people to move to New Hampshire, and I suspect we want very similar things. But jumping from the microchips to New Hampshire, plus the state is the solution to the microchips, and it wasn't, really a rant. But thank you. 3 is my score. Yeah.
Thanks for coming up. Andrew, guys. All right, we have our last 2 contestants for the evening, although I did see a little finger there. Was that you? Oh, she said, woo! All right. So, nope. We are done. We've got our last 2 folks for the night. Next up will be Frank and then Mo. And then we are into the final numbers. Yeah, do you guys want to flip that? Mo, are you cool going after Footloose? No, I just know as someone who has a strong personality, I don't like following Footloose. All right, here comes trouble. Here comes trouble. Welcome to the stage, Frank, also
Health
known
Freedom New Hampshire out there.
as Footloose.
What's good, Health Freedom New Hampshire? Nobody gonna spear me off the stage today, right? Fuck around and find out. Same guy will get what he gets, right? So yeah, I'm up here to talk about FAFO, because people keep asking me about it, not knowing about it. FAFO is what happens when you violate the non-aggression principle, right? You fuck around and you find out. If you can't defend yourself, you're harmless and weak. And the previous guy that got up here before me talking about how we need a state, we do need state-like individuals who are willing to uphold themselves to a constitution. So we can talk about the Lysander Spooner quote that everyone's familiar with. The Constitution failed, the yada, 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 right? So the Constitution didn't fail. It's the individual constitutions of everyone else that failed, okay? Because FAFO is 2 parts. You don't want to fuck around unless you want to find out. So do you want to be the FA or the FO, right? So the state currently is the FA. They're fucking around and they're trying to push us and push us and push us to see what we're willing to take. If you're not willing to get a $100 ticket in front of the governor's house, you're a pussy. Everybody got found not guilty at this point, so you're not going to get any credibility from doing it now. But we can still go back and get 50 tickets, 100 tickets, 200 tickets in front of Sununu's house in private, or it's public land at the cul-de-sac, and that jams up the administration, and they have to adjudicate all these unjust laws and unconstitutional laws that we're being subjected to. Because if you're not willing to face a $100 ticket, maybe get arrested and get bailed out in an hour or so, then what are you doing? Seriously. Fuck around and find out. If you're not willing to get arrested, get the fuck out of New Hampshire, yo. It's coming from a first-generation native. I'm not a Free Stater, so don't let this shine on the Free State Project. The Free State Project, in and of itself, right? The oath that you take to come to New Hampshire to do anything practical in your lifetime to achieve liberty in your lifetime, not to pass it down to your children and your grandchildren and their grandchildren, right? It's in our lifetime. So when are we gonna get it done? Move to New Hampshire. If you're not here yet, get here.
So Footloose, great energy. You're a hardcore activist. It's great to see you again, by the way. Activism is extremely important here in New Hampshire. That's how we get things done. And I mean, you know that. I had never heard, I hadn't seen your sign yet about fuck around and find out. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And, fuck around to find out, that's what happens.
$10.
Fake, yeah. Saying that's what happens when you violate the NAP, I love that, and I'm going to steal it. It says intellectual property is fake anyway. I'm giving you a 9.
I gotta tell you, if you don't recognize that politicians are more scared of one Frank than 1,000 voters, you don't want to fuck around and find out with this man. He's my neighbor. I assure you, he will go to the mat. But I like it. I like the energy. I will say, as much respect as I have for you, I think there's ways to do it that aren't going all the way where you are, but I think you're fucking doing an awesome job, so I love that. And a little bit of it was, I thought, lacking a little bit of context. It made sense to me, but I think for you're referencing some things that maybe people didn't understand. On the whole, I'm giving this a 7.
Jeremy said he liked it. I fucking loved it. I love anybody. People always say, especially libertarians, because we have a pacifist kind of bent to us, or peaceful at least. I feel like people like you represent the edge of the blade, and we have to have that. I don't think everybody needs to be it, but we have to have it. And you're an important member of this community, because if they don't fear us, they're gonna fucking run us over. So I love the energy. I love the fact that you're taking personal responsibility. You're shaming some motherfuckers. Some people need to be shamed sometimes. I'm a big fan of that. So I'm gonna give you a 9, man. That was killer.
I will tell you, it must be incredibly difficult to judge something when it's Frank and there's a dude up there going, judge me, fuck around and find out.
He had more knives for sale at Porcfest than anyone else, I'm just saying. I've realized also that I'm actually somehow the establishment guy on this panel. We had Tom Woods last year, and now we replaced him with Clint, who's let's burn the Capitol. And now I'm that. I'm him.
You're Tom Woods now, sorry, man.
Yeah.
Okay, next year we expect you to bring the dad jokes, okay?
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Round for Frank. F-A-F-O. You know what's really fun is when you go to the protests, and the first time there were signs and it didn't say the consent part, it just had F-A-F-O. And I had to ask a lady who is very conservative, and she was horrified. I was like, what is F-A-F-O? And she went, now don't hold this against me, but it's fuck around and find out.
All right. Welcome to Soapbox Idol, where the points are counted, but the rules don't matter, or whatever the thing is. So we have decided there's a clear winner. The winner is Jeff. Jeff, you've won.
Let's get up here, Jefferson.
First of all, thank you. Also, second of all, I prefer to be called Jefferson, not Jeff.
That's right.
I can still change your score, okay? I'm a judge.
He gets one win and it goes straight to his head. Unbelievable. Jefferson. Hey, you're a very impressive young man. I am thrilled that there are children ushering in a future that I don't have to be horrified by. So thank you for white pilling this old grizzled veteran of the libertarian community. Thank you.
For scorekeeping purposes, whoever might want to know whoever's in second, or maybe you're like, well, who's an adult that won? Because this kid cheated. There were 4 people tied, actually. He got the highest score. There were 4 people tied with the second highest score. Those were Mitch, Dennis, Bill, and Frank. So Mitch had the child consent rant. Dennis was moved to, I totally remember it, moved to Hampton.
Come build our libertarian homeland.
Yeah, come to the libertarian homeland. Bill.
Fuck the police.
Yeah. And anyway, I just said the names.
Bill's just tall and he intimidates me, so I don't know.
We all remember what they were.
Do you guys want to throw the 4 to the audience, or should we just pick?
What? No, we're just gonna do
No,
that.
we
Do you guys want to choose adult winner and/or second place? You guys feel like, yeah?
Yes.
No. I heard
no.
Right. Four-way
Okay.
tie. Four-way tie. It's over.
Jefferson, you are the champion.
Thank you.
Yeah.